Hey guys, how's it going? It is Jaku. I'm gonna go ahead and do this video right now, but I'm just gonna say my point of this entire video. Don't give up on the game yet. That's really what I have to say. And the reason I say that is because, okay, as soon as dragons became a thing, I noticed some of my friends already started getting out of the game because they just said like, okay, fuck this, we're done. We don't want to be a part of this anymore. And you know what? I get that. Okay, dragons are annoying. They've been annoying since they came out, what, like 6 months ago? And honestly, a lot of people are getting tired of it. I honestly am just kind of done with seeing the same exact deck profiles, the same exact type of playstyles. I'm not saying that dragons are like an easy deck. They really are not. The mirror match is extremely hard for dragons. I mean, it's definitely a challenge not to waste your resources, definitely not letting yourself get out of the situation, not losing advantage or anything like that. But at the same time, I'm getting back to the point that just right now, dragons are not going to be around for much longer. And I have a reason for that. The reason dragons are definitely not going to be a problem soon is because just look at the history of how things have been going right now. Look at the World Championships that we've had. 2 championships ago, it was Insector versus Insector. Versus this year's format, for this year's World Champion, it was Dragons versus Prophecy. And there's 2 completely different playstyles that were at the times. Insectors had great OTK power. Could set up the field easily. You put Hornet on the field, put Hornet in the graveyard, put Dragonfly on the field. Go ahead and Hornet pop, summon your Centipede, pop something else. Keep setting up every single turn with that. And you could definitely make good plays. You could definitely just get rid of whatever your opponent had. Get rid of whatever problems your opponent had. The wind-up loop. Things like that. That was the kind of thing that we had to worry about. Just people being able to go ahead and wreck you before you could even do anything. And that was one of the biggest issues with that format, is just the fact that, like, it was pretty much wrecking you before you could do even anything with that format. So it just was really, really hard to be able to make plays if you ran out of resources. And that's really what that was about. With dragon formats, with dragons versus spellbooks, those 2 decks just... I don't mean to, like, quote any other YouTubers, aka capital G, because it was pointed out to me by my friend earlier today when I was thinking of this, when trying to write this out. But his concept of recovery, of the fact that, like, that's really something that was relevant now, that actually, I mean, it's been around for a while, but it's really become apparent now when we've seen that with dragons, when they had Super Rejuvenation, as well as with Prophecy, when they had Spellbook of Judgment. Those 2 cards literally gave the deck no reason to just not go all in and then set up later. Because you just be like, okay, put in all my resources this turn. Oh, at the end of the turn, get back everything I needed to have. And that's pretty much how the game went. That's pretty much how just everything was determined. And even right now, even with those 2 cards that are banned, with good reason, the deck, Dragons, is still running around. The reason for that is because they recover too much. The fact that they are live on the hand, the field, the graveyard, and they're removed from play, that just breaks them. I mean, that's ridiculous that they are just good anywhere that they're at. It essentially makes them pretty much the best deck for a reason. They are the best deck. That's a given. Are they annoying? Yes. Are they stupid? Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. I am not going to contest that at all. And here's the thing, though. Remember windups? Remember how they were still good after a format? Because they still managed to win 2 YCSs after they got Zenmaity limited to 1 and all that? Yeah. Decks are still good afterwards. Decks are still popular. People don't want to let go of things until they know what to do afterwards. And that's how the formats go. Guess what? It's about that same time for dragons. They were good for another little part of the format after they got already hit. Guess what? They're going to get hit again. What they're going to hit? I have no idea. I honestly have no idea what's going to happen to dragons. Personally, I would like to see the big dragons go in all to 2, along with the spell card, the 7-star swords, going to 1. And I can understand that Ravine's broken, but I really just hate seeing dragons ruining archetypes as it is, so I'd much rather be able to let at least Dragoonities have their thing for that. But, hey, I'll know in December, and whatever happens, happens. It's the game of Yu-Gi-Ohs. I mean, we got this ban list that we just had a couple months ago. And, oh, that's another thing. Look at the ban list that we've had in comparison. One of the biggest differences, actually two of the biggest differences, Monster Reborn and Heavy Storm. Yeah, those cards were around before, now they're not. Heavy Storm and Monster Reborn, and even Darkhole, I call them the Holy Trinity of Yu-Gi-Oh! Those pretty much just set up the type of formats that we play. Because Monster Reborn just pretty much lets you go ahead and commit a lot more of your resources, as well as be able to trust your cards a lot more easily. Darkhole, that punishes people who spam their resources, who commit way too much to the field way too early or at the wrong time. Heavy Storm, same thing to people, but who do it for back row. And I personally am going to say this right now, I've never really been a fan of the set 5 go style of play. I'm just not a fan of it. I guess there's some kind of skill when you're playing two decks that are set 5, pass, fight off whatever you have with your back row. But even then, I'm just like, I don't know how to feel about that. But at the same time, some people love that. So I mean, hey, more power to them if they love that kind of game. I just roll with the punches. I just go with whatever happens. And what that really means to me is just the fact that we've been going from a very, very fast game to a much more slowed down game. If you guys have noticed already, the games between people and whatever they're playing, they're a lot slower now. There's no like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and derp you first turn, wind up loop, or like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and set up my entire field with the Insector Hornet herp derp, or just pretty much anything else. There's nothing of that left around pretty much anymore. Games are usually lasting more than just usually 5 turns from what I've seen. Usually about 10 though. I mean, I've seen some pretty long games. And cards that also are banned, like Gateway of the Six, Card Destruction, Ultimate Offering. Things that just set up games like that. Those cards are gone too. That's another thing I've noticed. And other cards that just set up the game pretty much, like Solemn Judgment actually. That was banned. Thunder King Ryo was put to 1. All your generic staple cards, Bottomless, Torrential, Compulse, Eradicator, all those things got hit to 1 at the same time that Heavy Storm was banned. I mean, it just speaks to me a lot that the game is no longer really oriented about being able to finish each other off quickly. Now the game is going to be a lot more about kind of like going back to its roots, where it's just, okay, we kind of play this out bit by bit and see how it ends up going. Whoever is smartest and doesn't use up their resources too late or too early is going to be the winner. And that's kind of one of the things I do like, the whole concept. I have a very, very mixed opinion about how I feel about the set 5 go format, even though it's not really been set 5 go from what I've seen, which is kind of nice, but I know it's somewhere out there it's happening. And really, just looking at those two things is giving me a little bit of hope. Because I've noticed that, like, okay, dragons have been slowed down. Pretty much decks overall are much slower. The new cards that are coming out, the new sets, everything that's been printed. Spellbook of the Master and High Priest of Prophecy got their reprint, along with Big Eye. Dragons and spellbooks are about to see their time come to an end. Once reprints come out, that usually means the deck is done for a while, if not for good. And just seeing the other cards coming out as well. Just seeing things like the Vajrayana coming out as well. The Gear Gigant X, the Diamond Dire Wolf, the Black Ship of Corn. This is being recorded on the same day that they announced the Wave 2 tin reprints, which include Black Ship of Corn, Diamond Dire Wolf. But that just shows that, like, yeah, times are changing. The format's going to get a lot slower. Not only that, but look at the new support and Legacy of the Valiant that's coming out in a couple months. In that we have Great Peers getting support, which has always been a slow deck. We've got the Noble Knights becoming a thing, which any deck that has to run equip cards is pretty much going to be a bit slow already as it is. And Ghost Tricks, set monsters face down. You're stalling. That point is just already going to be slow. But that's my point. Decks are going to be a lot slower now. The game is going to be a lot more longer now. The average duel is going to definitely not have like an OTK every single other moment. It's going to be much rarer to have those things happen to you, especially with the whole back row format. Even when it's just set 5 back row, that whole mentality, just having to get over 5 cards is going to be one thing. But actually you having to change your playstyle so that you get around those 5 cards without leaving yourself open, then that's going to be a completely different thing as well. You're already slowing down a game a lot. And more reason than anything is just the fact that, like, I'm kind of keeping myself hopeful for that because I just can't wait till I see the game go back to at least some of its roots, in the sense that it's not going to be everything about just finishing your opponent off quickly. Because that's just boring. I mean, ever since I've started doing my channel, I've pretty much had to go ahead and get a little bit more into the competitive aspect, get myself in touch with what's going on. And honestly, I'm always going to be a casual player at heart. I tell that to you right now. Shout out to my friend Christian. Guess what, buddy? I'm still going to be casual, no matter what you do. No matter how much you might try to go ahead and motivate me to actually get competitive with you, I'm going to always be casual at heart. That's me. But I do want to be a little bit competitive. I do like to win. It's always nice. And hopefully, things might go ahead and turn out for the best. But like I said, for those people who are out there right now just looking at the format being like, dragons suck, dragons are just fucking ruin everything. For those of you out there, I'm just saying, chin up, get your panties out of a knot, and go ahead and wait. Just wait until the ban list. Because I bet you more than anything, dragons are going to die. Like, the deck is definitely no longer going to be playable the way it used to be. And it's going to finally be the good archetype support. They're going to be finally out for what they were meant to do. Meant to be just as support for archetypes. No longer its own thing. And you know what? I look forward to that, honestly. I think I'd like to see the dragons, how they help other decks out. Because every deck can get a little bit of support with that. Between that, the new support coming out in the new sets and the reprints, as well as just having to wait and see the ban list. We don't even know what that's going to look like. That could be amazing for all we know. With any luck, Stratos might come back. I would like Stratos to be back. I'm a hero player, if you haven't already figured out by me saying that. But, yeah, other than that, that's all I have to say. Just don't give up. Have faith in the format, and just wait until things play out. At least wait until December to at least see what the ban list is going to look like. Once that happens, we're going to definitely know for sure, okay, the number one deck that's around, is it finally going to be gone? Is there going to be an open slot left for the new number one deck, as well as for whatever's going to be the best decks around? I'm right now going to go ahead and say that just the way that they've been playing the top spot, the top four, as I usually go by every format for the 4 top meta decks, it's going to be a toss-up between Evil Swarms, Constellars, Mermails, and depending on how the support or how good some players actually get, it could be one of the new archetypes that comes out. Prophecy, Fire Fist have a reasonable chance, but if I had to put my money on any of the new archetypes, I'd probably say I'd have to put it on either the Bujins or the Ghost Tricks. Yeah, that's how I see it personally. I could be wrong, but we'll never know until we have the new format. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Just don't give up, hang in there, and things might turn out for the best. You never know. We'll see you around, and I'm going to keep doing this every other week or so just to kind of keep in touch, see how things adjust over time. Maybe my opinion might change from this first video. We'll see. But otherwise, this has been Yugioh D, and I'll catch you guys later.